It is one of the first horror films in recent memory that lives up to the hype. But this is how you take an old idea and you revamp it and you modernize it.
The film itself, I think it's a top-notch feel-bad horror movie. At a certain point in the movie, I felt sick to my stomach, and that didn't go away until the end credits.
Yeah, big fan. It does actually live up to the hype, which is all too rare nowadays. It's been that long since I've been at the cinema, though, where everyone has that collective communal horror movie experience. Isn't all too common. You've got some good scares. You've got at least one amazing gore gag there.
It's been a great year for films if you're not getting out to the theaters. It very much feels like we're back into the 90s where it isn't just studio films, it's these indie films getting picked up and blowing up, and it's kind of crazy that it's coming from the world of YouTube. And this just excites me.
Hello, friends and listeners. You got a brand new episode of Watch Skip Plus. We want to be your go-to source for insightful and pop-cultured movie reviews. My name is Jose. I'm also joined by my co-host, Mike, the WillDaBeast. Mike, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. I've survived 2 days of a 3-day music festival. I'm like 17 bands in, so that's fun. I'm alive.
Hopefully you've showered.
Yes.
Anyway, this is almost like the prodigal guest recording, which is, I guess, appropriate since it's a Sunday. But we have two guests on for the film that we are reviewing, and we've been trying to get them for months back onto the podcast because they are former guests. We've got Kevin, I don't know which square. We've got Kevin from Raiders of the Podcast, our fan club. We love Raiders of the Podcast. Kevin, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm glad to finally schedule an appearance again. Yay, I keep trying. And
yes,
it's nice when our times match up.
Yep.
I know there was a movie after Oppenheimer you came on, right?
Was
there
it
was
the
definitely
second
something
Five
else.
Nights at Freddy's?
Oh, yeah, it was it 5 nights.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Great.
5 Nights at Poopies. God, that was awful. And our second guest is E.f Contentment. The last time was Missing, which was a Screen Life film, possibly.
Last time was, and I understand why you don't remember, because it was for The Expendables 4.
Oh,
which was,
God,
yeah,
yes.
not a fun time.
Welcome back, E.f. How are you doing?
I'm doing relatively well. How about you?
Good. Well, looks like we're going to erase the unhappy memories of the bad films you guys were on before. We're reviewing this week Obsession. This is directed by Curry Barker and written by Curry Barker and edited by Curry Barker. I'm going to say it's a Barker vision. But there's a lot of hype surrounding this. So I'm just going to dive into it really quickly. Technically, this is a 2025 film. This premiered September 2025 at TIFF. That's the Toronto International Film Festival. For those not in the know, people really fell in love with this. And then ultimately it found distribution. Blumhouse is on this, which I don't know, now is kind of like a curse. Like, oh, Blumhouse, is this going to be good? Like, the fuck? But our writer, director, and editor is Curry Barker, very sexy ginger from Alabama. He is a YouTuber. So now we are in the realm of YouTubers becoming filmmakers. So we've got Kane Parsons, who's coming up with A24's Back Rooms. I'm also thinking about who's that movie reviewer guy that people hate now?
We did Chris Stuckman's,
Yes,
Shelby
Oaks, correct.
And then we didn't do it, but there was Iron Lung from Markiplier.
What's it? Markiplier? Multiplier?
Markiplier.
Bebe's kids. He multiplies. I don't know.
YouTubers, they all have weird names, and it is the thing. YouTubers are becoming horror filmmakers, coming together. They're doing these comedy things, kind of like we saw with Jordan Peele, and then we saw with The Whitest Kids You Know. So we're seeing this kind of thing happen on a different scale, but from YouTube instead of like Comedy Central or wherever those guys were from. So it's kind of exciting.
So Curry, exciting, or, you said horror filmmakers. Maybe they're turning into horror filmmakers. I don't know. I'm kidding. Curry Barker and Cooper Tomlinson, who is also in this film, they did a sketch comedy TikTok, YouTube called That's a Bad Idea. I actually checked out a couple of those clips. There's one riff on the State Farm ad where he says like, State Farm, whatever. And then Cooper Tomlinson shows up and he's bound in like S&M bondage. And he's like, what are you doing? Why did you call for me? I'm doing this. And don't you know I have to walk back or whatever? It's actually pretty funny. But they also have done horror shorts. And then in 2024, there was a film that they did together for $800, shot in 4 months. It's called Milk and Cereal, Serial. After a year of no distribution, basically they were like, fuck it, we'll put it up for free on YouTube. And apparently Dread Central called it the best found footage film of 2024. I know you guys have seen that film. Let me start with Kevin. What did you think of it?
I thought it was okay. I liked it enough. There's some good stuff in there. I was resistant to it for so long because I do have this inbuilt snobbery and bias against the YouTube creators who'd previously, when we had like Smosh the movie and was it airplane mode and stuff like that, when it was internet celebrities trying to make films with them as the stars. I kind of pushed back on that. But since we've had the Philippou brothers, we've had the other people you mentioned, and I was hearing good things about Obsession, I thought, well, I'll check out Milk and Cereal. And it is good. Like, it's well made. It shows a kind of knowledge of the craft and some, it goes to some dark places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I heard that actually, that there's some interesting sort of things in that. EF, have you seen Milk and Cereal? What do you think of Curry Barker's first directorial debut?
I saw it last year, and I thought it was clever and knew not to overstay its welcome at 62 minutes.
Yeah, it's barely an hour.
I appreciated that. Curry Barker also stars in it, and he definitely cast well because at least in that film, he's a creepy looking guy. And
I think he's kind of sexy.
No.
Big scary eyes, kind of.
Watch him in that film.
No.
Like, I'm sure it's like, even like the most handsome person, if they have the ability to, can make themselves look very creepy, and he does that in that film.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen any interviews with Curry Barker between that film and this film. Going just by Milk and Cereal, I'd go like, oh yeah, it would make sense that he would make Obsession because he's creepy, right? And I'm sure he's not like that at all in real life. I liked it, but to be honest, I didn't find anything in it that made me go like, oh, I can't wait for the next one. I just went like, oh, that was a cool YouTube movie, almost like a student film. It's like, oh, that was pretty cool. It would be interesting to see what he does next. But when I found out that he made Obsession, it didn't change my mind as far as like, I really want to see this movie now.
Got it. Yeah, when you say YouTube movie, I guess this is not to like dig on self-published authors, but it's kind of like self-published authors, right?
Yeah,
it's like, oh well, Random House didn't like it, so here you go. But that's not to say that self-published authors can't be fantastic.
Well, if he didn't do that, his movie wouldn't have got purchased for what it was. I mean, really, that carved the way for Obsession to kind of get into TIFF and cause the TIFF. It caused the TIFF. So I think that it was necessary for him to get to where he is now, because there was a lot of hype about that when it first hit, I don't know, 2 years ago on YouTube. Of course, with the kids, my kids especially, they were talking about, oh, did you see the new horror movie? It's found footage, a guy wearing a creepy mask and blah, blah, blah. And it kind of took off. And I heard it and I watched it. And it is really clever. It's a cool use of $800 and some people who just were friends. And it's also fun if you have seen Obsession to go and see this, because you will see the building blocks as well as some familiar faces, Cooper and a couple other. So yeah, it's interesting. It's worth a watch if you like Obsession.
Yeah, so after that was released, actually, he immediately got signed to UTA, which is one of the big creative agencies. So good for him. Our DP is Taylor Clemens. I think they've worked together. Clemens has mostly done commercials. I don't think he's done a lot of features. Music is by Rock Burwell. I haven't done the research. I'm wondering if he's related to Carter Burwell, who also does a lot of scores. I don't know. But Barker there's a lot of buzz on this, a lot of hype. Some are calling him and Kane Parsons the future of horror. So much so that upcoming, he has wrapped Anything But Ghosts. This actually stars Cooper Tomlinson, Aaron Paul, Bryce Dallas Howard, and A24 has now picked him to reimagine the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So yeah, crazy. Really quickly, our cast, these are some unknowns, which I think works for this because, you're not like, oh, there's not that Sandra Bullock would be cast in this, but like, oh, that's Sandra Bullock acting crazy, right? So we've got Michael Johnston. People will know him from MTV's Awkward and MTV's Teen Wolf. By the way, he's gay. He's openly gay. I had no idea. Reminds me of that meme. Why are you gay? Anyway, he's very cute, and he shows his butt here. By the way, he reminds me, like, if Josh O'Connor and Andrew Garfield had a baby, it's Michael Johnston. And then our other lead is Indy Navarrete, who I think kind of looks like Natalie Portman meets Selena Gomez. But her real name is Danielle Fabiola Navarrete. She is striking looking because she is Australian, Mexican, American. I thought she was Italian. Here you go. That's where her beautiful looks come from. Many will know her from season 4 of 13 Reasons Why, and she played Sarah Cushing on Superman and Lois, which I never got to watch. Cooper Tomlinson, we talked about him. If ever there is a Jose type, it is Cooper Tomlinson. Chunky white guy. Yeah, baby. Megan Lawless is in this. Love that last name. She's really great. And then Andy Richter, what the fuck, comes in, and I'm like, I turned to Scooter and I was like, is that Andy Richter? And he's like, who's Andy Richter? And I'm like, never mind.
Yes, it was Andy Richter. It was.
Yeah, it was kind of weird that he showed up in there.
Can I ask, was it just me? When I saw the trailer and saw Michael Johnson in the trailer, I was like, who does he remind me of? Who does he remind me of? It's the guy that gets way out of his face and go and does the Macarena in the store. Do you remember him? Like the cat speaks to him about Xerxes, the Egyptian.
Yes.
Was that Timothy Olyphant?
No, he's the dealer and go. It was someone else who's friends with Sarah Pauli's character, I think, helps her. And I was like, oh, they've frozen that guy and brought him out 20 years later. And there are still some moments in the film where I'm like, is it that guy? Has he just aged that well?
He looks like the guy from Scary Movie to me. What's the guy from Scary Movie? That's what he looked like to me. The boyfriend.
John. Yeah, he has the darker hair. Yeah.
He looked like the boyfriend from Scary Movie to me.
He's talking about Nathan Bexton.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, yes.
I just looked it up right now, and he does look like him. He does kind of have that. The hair. It's the hair. It's the hair. That's what
because the trailer was driving me crazy. I thought I recognized it.
I see it now. Hey, can we just talk about Indy Navarrete? If you don't know that name, you better get it in your fucking heads because she's going places. Wow.
Is she going places?
She is. I loved her.
I agree she's memorable. We'll get to that. So, anyway, here we go.
Wow.
You shut your bio. First of all, Mike actually said to me after he saw this film, he was like, if you come on the show and you say you hated this movie, I'm quitting the podcast.
I'm walking the fuck off.
He's like, walking the fuck off the podcast. I was like, oh shit, pressure. At any rate, here we go. I'm going to start with our guests. I'll start with EF. What are your spoiler-free thoughts on Obsession? Because we are definitely going to have stuff to talk about in the spoilered section of it. But what did you think of this?
I actually would like to give my my spot to you because I'd rather that the parade get rained on first, and then we could dry it out. So I'd like to get your thoughts, Jose, because like Mike, I'm like, am I going to have to walk off this podcast too?
Oh, no. Okay, well... So I'll start. Yeah, actually, this is probably one of my favorite movies of the year, next to Mother Mary. It is one of the first horror films in recent memory that lives up to the hype. I was not disappointed. I know people talk about that horror short story, but I say that this is the way that you take an old idea. So the old horror short story is Monkey's Paw, which Curry Barker apparently found out from a reference on The Simpsons. So it's not like he read the short story, he saw it on The Simpsons and explored it. But I think about Aladdin or like the genie in the bottle and that kind of cautionary tale. Be careful what you wish for. But this is how you take an old idea and you revamp it and you modernize it. Premise, he makes this wish over this girl that he has, he's in love with. it would be one thing if they just did that straight through and made it a horror film, but there's so many other layers here. There's a really, really big consent issue here that I think gives this an edge over, say, calling it Gen Z Fatal Attraction. And it's so much more than that. But there's also commentary about all the things that we don't say in our relationships and how that can just snowball into ruining things. And the gore here, let me tell you, I mean, uneasy laughter like Pulp Fiction when he accidentally blows that guy's head off. Like there were people screaming and then in the next second laughing during this movie. It's so uncomfortable and crazy. I love the lead. I think he's absolutely adorable. Had he not shown his butt, I still would have thought he was great. He is really kind of a revelation here because I think he has the harder role. I know I teased this, but I think it's easy to act fucking crazy. I do agree that Indy Navarrete is very memorable in this. She's very scary. She knows exactly how to wheel that stuff out. I think I'm going to have to wait to see in terms of her acting skill if she can bring it, because I think it's going all out like that crazy and acting insane is kind of I don't know, I think it's kind of an easy thing to do. So, but she is good in this and she is very, very memorable. I can't wait to see more from Curry Barker and his chunky friend, Cooper Tomlinson. So EF, with that, now I want to hear, what are your spoiler-free thoughts on this?
Well, right now when you were saying about that you feel Johnston probably has, sorry, it's early in the morning and I haven't had all my coffee yet, but basically...
the harder role, I think, here.
Yeah, and it reminded me in a way, I think you do have a point in this respect that it reminds me of, like, let's say with Rain Man, a lot of people talk about how great Dustin Hoffman was in that film. And he is, but it's also the showier role. Whereas a lot of people, I really feel Tom Cruise is great in that movie, and
he's fantastic.
He doesn't get enough credit.
We are cinema soul brothers here. We are cinema soul brothers. I've always I picked Rain Man for the podcast at one point because I wanted to praise Tom Cruise's role, which was always overlooked at the time. Sorry, F.
No, it's all right. I actually, I don't feel like talking anyway. So because I don't drink anymore, and the thing is, all of a sudden I don't have the gift of gab. But I think Johnston does deserve a lot of credit for his performance because I think the movie it lives or dies on Indy Navarrete's performance, but I think it just as much lives and dies on Michael Johnston's performance. This is almost like a two-hander in this respect, and I think he's really good in it, and she's great in it. This is definitely a demo reel material for her. Because it's not just her acting crazy. I mean, you also get comedic Indy Navarrete. You get romantic Indy Navarrete. You get dramatic Indy Navarrete. You get to see these different sides of her. And honestly, if she doesn't get, bigger and likely worse roles after this movie, then there's no justice in the business because, I mean, she's showing you everything that she can do. The film itself, I really liked it. I think it's a top-notch, feel-bad horror movie. It's not a fun horror movie. It's not the kind of horror movie where you come out and you're like, at least me, I didn't come out of it feeling, jazzed or kind of like, whoa, I came out feeling kind of drained by the end of it, but a good kind of drained, and yeah, I really liked it. It kind of has a bit of an Ari Aster, unsettling vibe to it, and that also goes to the music as well by Burwell. It goes as well for Burwell. No, but it has this, that real like dissonant undertone going on in both the music and in just what's going on. It at a certain point in the movie, I felt sick to my stomach, and that didn't go away until the end credits. And I didn't eat that day, so it has nothing to do with that. It was what's going on, what I was watching. It was like you said, there's more to it than just the whole like relationship thing. I mean, you could just see this behavior as like someone dealing with someone with mental health issues. So I think that's also what really disturbed me about the movie was that even if he didn't wish for this, for her to fall in love with him and all that, if you just see like scenes from this movie out of context, some of them, not all of them, it could be that. It could be you're watching a guy in a relationship with someone who has mental health problems and having to deal with that. Oh, and real quick, you mentioned the monkey's paw thing. What this really reminded me of initially was an episode of Tales from the Crypt called Love to Death, I think is what it was called. Mm-hmm. This was back in the 90s. It was with Andrew McCarthy, Mariel Hemingway, David Hemmings. Oh, yeah. and it's kind of a love potion number 9 thing, where this guy, he has a thing for McCarthy has a thing for Mariel Hemingway, and David Hemmings gives him this potion to give her. He gives it to her, and she turns into Indy Navarrete basically. And I was afraid that the movie was going to basically go the same route, and it doesn't. So, but that premise was kind of similar. But yeah, I really liked it. I really liked the movie. I'm talking too much.
No, you're good. You're good. And thank you for bringing that up too. That's the other sort of layer underneath the consent issue is it's almost like he's dealing with somebody who has mental health illness or like maybe bipolar disorder, you know, 1 second fine, the next second very emotional. Like, how do you deal with that? How do you make it work? And I think that, you know, the script toes that line in a really great way. Kevin, spoiler-free thoughts on Obsession?
Yeah, big fan. Like you said, it does actually live up to the hype, which is all too rare nowadays. Especially, it seems like every few months you'll get another horror movie hyped up. Everyone must see this. This is the goriest thing you'll ever see. This is the scariest thing you'll ever see. Everyone in the cinema pooped their pants and needed refunds for laundry, that kind of thing. But I went along to see Obsession, and I had to plan a day after I got like 5 hours sleep after my night shifts finished. Had a day out of the city, watched The Sheep Detectives first, which is a very different film. And I went to Obsession. It had been that long since I've been at the cinema though, where everyone has that collective. You have the kind of relief laughter moments, but there's still unease. You have the sort of, you know, the intake of breath if something's violent and unexpected. You've got some good scares. You've got at least one amazing gore gag there, and like that communal horror movie experience isn't all too common. Even though you can have hits and you can have things that work in different ways. So that was great. I think Navarrete's performance is fantastic. I'm all in agreement with Mike there, because I think she does the crazy, but also there are many moments where she is meant to be trying to dial it back down, or she's affected in a way that brings her back down. And I like that. It's a real, you know, roller coaster. As E.f said, it's a full kind of showcase reel for everything. But Johnston does really well in his role, because like that is important casting, because his character, you know, we'll get more into that later, but it's clear that, you know, just because you're with certain characters doesn't necessarily make them the hero or heroine of the story, and Barker does really well with that. So yeah, big fan of this, and big fan of this as a horror movie, like cinema experience for people to really enjoy.
Oh yeah, Mike, you're not walking.
No, this is exactly what I wanted to hear. I fucking loved this movie, and I'll just be right out, and this is my favorite movie of 2026. I've said that like 3 or 4 times so far. It's been a great year for films if you're not getting out to the theaters. Really good movies are coming out that get picked up at like film festivals and getting wide releases. I love that. It very much feels like we're back into the 90s, where it isn't just studio films, it's these indie films getting picked up and blowing up. And it's kind of crazy that it's coming from the world of YouTube. And this just excites me. It reminds me of when I first saw Hereditary and first heard Ari Aster's name, the dark, sinister sense of humor, the kind of like dread, but also wink, wink. Very funny at times, very scary at times. It does ask you to, the first 30 minutes, to kind of just hold your breath and wait for it to build. It is a slow build. We are talking this up. So if you aren't into slow builds, that first 30 minutes is about the characters. It's about building things. Yeah. But once it does build, it just grabs you. And the weird little ticks that this movie has is so funny and strange when you're just watching characters do things that you're like, what is happening? There's an almost offbeat kind of jazz-like flow to this movie. That's like, oh wow. You know what I mean? It's like for a minute you're like, it's like you're listening to this wonderful jazz record that's taking you on this up and down, you know, roller coaster ride. And that's what this is. It is a roller coaster ride.
It's like a repetition with escalation.
Yes.
And so it's like, here we go. We're going back to her being crazy. What she got next. And each one is successively more galling and appalling.
Yeah, like I said, I see a lot of Ari Aster and Curry Barker. I see a lot of Mia Goth and Indy Navarrete. I think that she's going to go places. I see a lot of what we saw with the Triple X in Indy, what Mia did in those roles. So I'm excited. Like, this got me excited as a horror film fan. As soon as I got out of the movie, I was like screaming at the top of my lungs. I love this so much. I can't wait for the world to see it. It made money. It made like almost $15 million this weekend. So that's awesome. Means that more people.
$1 million budget, folks. $1 million, one weekend. That's the Blumhouse model. At least this wasn't The Woman in the Yard, which, by the way, I did rewatch, and it actually is good, if not too obvious. But
well,
I know I've been ragging on The Woman in the Yard, but
this proves that Blumhouse is better at distributing than actually producing
in-house
when
creation.
they pick up things like this and Get Out, that's kind of what started them. That's when they're smarter, is when they pick up stuff than when they're actually like making things like Imaginary. Sorry, Jeff Wadlow or whatever your name was. Your movies are not as good.
It is Wadlow, and he's so gorgeous. I hate that movie, but I love him.
But yeah, this is exciting. It's a great Blumhouse film. It is up there with the top 2 or 3 that they've released. Must see in theaters if you love horror, if you love just getting your mind kind of shocked and blown. And also, like you said, there's a lot going on that we're going to dive in, come back for the spoiled review, because we really are going to dive into more of what this film really is about. We don't want to spoiler any of this. As we're saying, I mean, we have 4 watches, it seems like. So get your ass to the theater, sit down, watch this, enjoy it, and come back for our spoiler. This is awesome. I love this movie.
and let me I'll say 2 things and then we'll close. I think Mia Goth's performances in things like the Pearl trilogy, as well as, Infinity Pool, I think the whole time I probably was just like, oh, she's just channeling Mia Goth. And I felt the same way about Mia Goth too. I was like, okay, she's pretty. I've seen her do Creepy, Cure for Wellness. After Infinity Pool, I kind of was like, well, she's kind of acting out, fueled by cocaine. So I don't know. That's how I felt about Indy Navarrete. I know I'm in the minority. I was also in the minority over not loving Mortal Kombat 2. Whatever, I'm still taking shit for that, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So, and then the other thing I was going to say was, unlike the drama, this makes a good date movie, because then, your girlfriend can kind of like cuddle with you, or your significant other can cuddle with you, versus being like, well, what is the worst thing you've done? And then the relationship's over. So at any rate, EF, you have a podcast, you record your musings. You also have like a blog and stuff. What's going on with your blog, to let the friends and listeners know?
Well, I just most recently put out an episode last November, and it's just, I post when I feel like it, so that I have a very fast, I put out a lot of stuff, just last year I put out 3 episodes. I put out stuff when I feel like it. It's really just these deranged monologues that I write out, and you could read it, but I know most people don't like to read anymore, so then there's the podcast. So you could just listen to me give this monologue about a movie or movies that I watched, and the most recent one, like I said, was last November, and it was about 3 horror film festivals that I went to in LA in October. So that's that was the last one. Check it out. It's Exiled from Contentment. You could find it at on wherever fine podcasts are sold.
Yes, and I love your deranged musings, as it were. They're very well written. They remind me of our close friend Randy.
Oh yes, I forgot Randy. We were playing around with the idea, like maybe like I was really Randy, that until you actually met me, then it was just like, oh, okay, you're just this dude.
It's like, oh shit, it's a pseudonym. Yes, well, welcome back. Thank you so much. Kevin, what's going on over at Raiders of the Podcast? I know Tyler loved this. This is definitely a Tyler movie.
Yes, but we're not. Tyler's not in our good books because he picked the ultimate Tyler movie last week. And then Mike was like, oh, is that part of a trilogy? So thanks, Mike. We're covering another 2 movies in that trilogy at some point. We covered a film called Fiona that didn't go down well. And then we thought we would be brave, and Dave made us watch Derek Jarman's Blue. So we'll have fun discussing that on a podcast.
I love it.
It was good. It was a good, that's a film that had been on my to-watch list for a long time. I don't think I've seen any other Derek Jarman film yet. It's a hell of an experience.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Oh, you have a blog too, Kevin. You want to talk about your blog?
Yes, please. And where can we find Raiders?
I try and Raiders is available where you find all good and bad and dubious podcasts. My blog is for his man's number at is it blogger.com, and it just basically, as EF said, people don't really like reading nowadays, but I will go against that grain, and I've been doing that. Like, there's been a daily review there for on and off probably for over a decade.
Yeah, and, for years, as long as I've known you.
For the past 5 or 6 years, it's been sort of a kind of a mental health feature in a way. It's kind of, instead of journaling, it's part of a pattern, part of a schedule. So if the blog's going, I'm feeling good. And if the blog ever disappears, I'm probably not having a good week.
Time to start calling DMing. Nice. Nice. Okay. So yes, everybody, please come back for the spoiler discussions. There is a lot to unpack, as the kids say, with this film. If you love us, you'll certainly love our Podfathers, The Gentleman's Guide to Midnight Cinema and Not a Bomb. Also the OG's Night of the Living podcast. And then, of course, our cheerleader fan club, the Raiders of the Podcast from across the pond. And then our YouTube brothers, the Wild Dream Twitch. That's Daniel and David for the Wild Dream Podcast. Love those guys. As well as Death by DVD, the Two Johns, and now for something a little bit different. Also, we've got Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zoe, Caliber 9 from Outer Space, Feminine Critique, and Talk Without Rhythm with Goro. Mike, parting thoughts before you fall asleep from your festival shenanigans?
Dude, just get out there, get to live music. I can't tell you how elative I've been just going to see music with my kids. It's just amazing. Just
all right, you have to do it. You have to rattle off. Who did you see yesterday?
Oh gosh, who did we see? Oh, you need to see this band called Between Friends. They're great, little pop group. She came out very much. She has a Charlie XCX energy. They were great. But if you like that kind of, which you do like that kind of music, so just stop.
I do like that kind of music. I don't like Charlie XCX as an actress.
No, this Between Friends, they're really great. But for me, speaking of across the pond, the ending was the XX. They haven't been to America in 8 years. I love them. Their last album was huge for me. It was a big grief album. My grandma passed around the same time, and there's a lot of songs about grief on that. Because Romy, one of the singers on there, her parents passed away in a car accident. So there's a lot of songs that touched me, and I was bawling at the end. And they put on such a good show. The mix of their slower, melancholic stuff, as well as their kind of Euro dance stuff. So they split it up into a little bit of everything. It was a great show. But I'll tell you the band that I saw live that you have to see live if you love rock music, and that's Turnstile. They're a newer rock band, but they took this audience of 90,000 people and had a roar of people just having a blast, whether it was moshing, dancing, laughing. I have not seen a rock show like that in probably 20 years. So kudos to Turnstile. If you want to see a rock show, real, true fucking rock show, stadium, arena rock, see Turnstile. But yeah,
and that would be Turnstile.
Yep.
And they're from Baltimore.
There's a couple, I think Between Friends has a Baltimore connection too. Somewhere.
Sweet. Okay. All right, folks. Thank you. Come back for the spoilered. And as always, be kind, be open, be vulnerable. That's where the art is. And we'll see you on the other side. Bye.